On this day, I see clearly everything has come to light. Edge returns to WWE just 24 hours after debuting with AEW. Edge, in the middle of a Raw ring, coming to the aid of Tommaso to fend off Imperium. The shock of the crowd, the roar in the arena, the cliffhanger we've been waiting for over 10 years. That captivating moment that Raw has failed to deliver. Last night, Edge back in WWE, and I got it. All right, that didn't happen. It didn't happen, guys. Edge did not show up in WWE. He is firmly planted in AEW. Congratulations to that dude. Just like I said, somebody like Jade Cargill or even CM Punk at this stage in their career are just better suited in WWE. Well, you can say that Edge might be better off in a place like AEW right now. Definitely is going to be happier. Definitely is going to have more work for him and a lot of people on that roster to take on. So we wish Edge the very best over there. And the reason he went to AEW, man, we went over that yesterday. I had a lot of travel to do over the weekend. So right before Raw, I was able to put up an upload for you guys. And we discussed why Edge left WWE, and it wasn't just because it was time. It wasn't just for money. He gave you the exact reason in a lengthy response, just to say what's up to the fans, and this is where we all stand. And in that response, in that lengthy statement, Edge tells you exactly why he left WWE, and it is a major topic. It is a major headline. It is a big problem in WWE. And to do that to Edge, to not have anything for Edge, when this dude is telling you, I would like to do more, and you look at somebody like Adam Copeland and go, we just got nothing for you. You can sit with the triple layered moose cake at catering, or you can sit your ass home and be Papa Copeland. But you ain't showing up on our programs. We went over it in yesterday's podcast. Hopefully you guys caught it, or if you got the time, check it out. But had to have a little bit of fun at the start of this upload, because this amped up podcast for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023 is featuring the Raw review. And there's usually no big headlines, no big captivating moments from a Monday Night Raw. So I think we've just resorted to fantasy booking at this point. A little bit of Rick Rude. You guys remember when Ravishing Rick Rude showed up on WCW the same night that he was on Raw? Figured we have a little bit of fun with Edge. Edge did not show up to WWE last night. No, it was John Gargano. It wasn't Edge, but you got Jonathan Wrestling, right? Johnny Gargano. Edge, Johnny Wrestling. Edge, Johnny Wrestling. Now I know. Some of you guys are out there going, well, Johnny Wrestling still on the roster? I thought he was in the recent round of budget cuts. Released. And I wouldn't even blame you. As much as most of us respect Johnny Wrestling, pound for pound, in that ring, Johnny Wrestling, John Gargano, is one of the best actual move for move, sequence for sequence wrestlers on the planet. I would put him up there with the best. But his main roster stint so far, the only thing more irrelevant, maybe his wife Candice LeRae's WWE stint so far. So, as sad as that may be, it is the case. Johnny Wrestling has been irrelevant on the main roster. Nothing that nobody, no casual fan, or nobody that didn't vividly watch Black and Gold would go out of their way to cheer for. That's why I thought it was odd to put him in that situation where you knew the crowd, half was not going to know who he was or care, and the other half was just going to go, oh, that's our big finish? AEW got Edge. We got little Johnny. DIY. Come on, we're having some fun. It was a botched finish to Raw, if you guys saw it. Unacceptable. Whether this is going to be a big reaction or a larger-than-life superstar coming back or just a John Gargano, it is a return of somebody that's been gone for a while. You cannot have a time management botch. And that's what happened. Now you can say, well, Paul Levesque McMahon is still learning the ropes, BC. Well, Kevin Dunn's not. Somebody, they got to hold each other's hands at these points in time because that's unacceptable. They're setting up for the climactic moment, the double kick. The little double knee, double kick that they do. We haven't seen it in so long. Here they are. They're each in their corner. You got like Kaiser, I think, is in the middle. Maybe it was Giovanni. I don't know. One of them's in the middle. They're setting it up. And we go off the air. We just cut right out. That's it. So, a botched finish to Monday Night Raw. And it was sad, man. First you hear the initial, there's like an initial like, yeah, right? Nia Jax even got it when she returned. And then a minute later, everybody was like, oh, it's Nia Jax. Charlie Flair, when she goes away for 2 months and then comes back, you hear an initial like, yeah, because you haven't seen somebody in a minute. Or you just feel like you should be cheering. And then you realize, well, I mean, I'm not that excited. And that's what happened with John Wrestling, man. You can check it out yourself, guys. This is just like a critical review. You could check it out. Like Johnny Wrestling, man, that was not a return roar that you would get from somebody that's been gone for a couple months. And then, as he was in the ring for more than 10 seconds, it died down even more. And then people were just like, all right, Johnny Rose. Oh, yeah, remember DIY? I remember. They were a tag team. Okay, yep. This does make a little sense. Okay. What next? What do we got, though? Is The Rock here? Maybe L.A. Knight, yeah. Maybe he's coming out, right? Can't be John Gargano. He's not, right? I mean, that's what the crowd was checked out, bro. This was not good. And then you add in the time management botch. And, just not good. It's one of those things where BC told you long ago, when Johnny Gargano came over or re-signed and Tommaso, maybe that's when Tommaso was wearing his little construction vest, like the neons, so the cars know not to hit him on the highway. He was with The Miz. Everybody was going, oh, let's put DIY back together. That's going to do the trick. And I told you guys, just because people like BC and a lot of you guys watched NXT and we respected and liked DIY, right? And they were badass. It doesn't mean it's going to work with this beast, not even with Paul Levesque at the helm. I'm assuring you of that. There's no tag division. What is John Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa going to do? So I said build them both up individually first, way down the line. And when you have a division, by the way, like real 2-3 people teams you can really take on that we're going to care about, then you do DIY. But don't use it as a crutch. And that's what they did. They're already using it as a crutch. Tommaso has not been built up yet. He just had his title match last night, actually. Failed. And all of a sudden, DIY is the talk. Johnny Gargano has not gotten anything since being on the roster. I can't remember anything other than like a whodunit with The Miz. For some reason, he was very interested in The Miz lying about one of his feuds that he was in. So he was playing detective, and that's it. And then he went away for months. Nobody remembered any of it. So now we're getting DIY. So I understand there's going to be a portion of the fan base that is going to love this, right? It's black and gold, BC. It's DIY. And BC is going to continue to say DIY. Why? What is it leading to? Are we just going to have them with another person, right? There'll be a third. They'll try to find their way. You like that? If you watched NXT, you know what I'm talking about. And they're going to have a bunch of 6-man tags with Imperium. Are they eventually going to move over to the Judgment Day? There's no tag teams in WWE. Nothing of relevancy. There's not let me switch that. There's tag teams. There's just not a division, right? There's no division. Doesn't matter if the Usos get back together, if all the New Day members are fully healthy and rocking. It doesn't matter if the Viking Raiders become the Viking Warriors or the Viking Adventures again. It doesn't matter. There's no division. There's nothing. So you can put a Tommaso with a Johnny and you can try to recreate DIY. You can try to say, hey, maybe we'll build a division around DIY. Well, I heard that about Sasha and Bayley, Sasha and Trinity, Naomi. I've heard it about so many individuals, man, even Shayna and Ronda. And it falls to the wayside because without the company caring about these divisions, it's never going to spark into anything. You can lay down all the gasoline you want. Unless you like the match, nothing is going to ignite that we're going to care about. So this is one of those things that'll pop people for the now, right? And again, it's only that sector of fans, right? Black and gold, they just can't get away from black and gold. They can't realize that was years ago. They don't realize that this is a different beast, whether Vince McMahon is at the helm or even Paul Levesque. The guy supposedly who was running black and gold, which, by the way, that was the William Regals and the Dusties who really got that started, but that's another story. Not even Paul Levesque is going to recreate black and gold if he had 100% power, because he doesn't know how to control the beast. He has told you he doesn't know what to do with the third hour. You know damn well 2 hours. We know this by factual information. Look at the history books. Paul Levesque doesn't know what to do with a 2-hour show. SmackDown, forget about it. Raw, it's done. That's DOA. Paul Levesque was best when he had a little 1-hour show tucked in on the network. You give him 2 hours, you put him on national TV, and that's why AEW and Tony Khan whooped his ass. That's not shade. I'm trying to drop facts so we can get to the point of actually changing this for the better. Can we do better? Resting on DIY right now does nothing. There's nobody for them to face. You guys know I'm right. You're going to recycle a bunch of Imperium Judgment Day matches. You see who's taking on Judgment Day for the tag titles? Main event Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. It's a good thing Cody didn't win that world title at WrestleMania, right? Like everybody said, struggle in adversity, because now we get to see him go for the tag titles. Awesome. It's exactly what we want. Tag titles, everybody. Tag titles. And when he's done, he can go for the 24/7 title. It's going to be a 10-way matchup, and the first one to take the 24/7 title out of the trash will become the new 24/7 champion. And we hear that Cody Rhodes is going to be perfect for that. Awesome. And he'll limp into WrestleMania 40 and maybe have a rematch with Roman. Tag title on one shoulder, 24/7 title on the other shoulder. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. How many times did Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens just face the Judgment Day? 16 times in the last 4 months? There's no division. What are you doing with DIY? The whole point is this. You're getting a shell of what we got in NXT. If you're not going to do it correctly, don't do it at all, is the old saying. This is going to be a shell of the DIY we once knew. But there's people out there, man. They're going to be happy about, hey, we get to see them in tag team action, BC. Well, if that's the best you got for John Wrestling and the best you got for Tommaso, lump them up into this old black and gold thing and push them to the side so the big boys can play over here, then okay. But my standards are much higher for both individuals because I know they're badass. I respect the hell out of both of them. I know what they're capable of. I know they can be stars even on the main roster. And for those thinking that, oh man, Vince McMahon makes all the decisions, man, or everything has to filter through Vince, and if it's a good idea, or if it's just something Triple H really wants, he's going to veto it. Well, there you go. That was a Paul Levesque finish there, wasn't it? It was a Paul Levesque show. Bronson Reed squashing people. You got Tommaso and Gunther in the main event with the return of DIY. Do you think Vince McMahon is ending his Raw with Johnny Wrestling and Tommaso Ciampa? No, well, basically the thing is that okay, Triple H may have come up with it creatively, but Vince still has to allow it. Well, so what are you telling me? So he allowed it then, right? So Paul Levesque has great influence on these shows now. Because he still allowed it, is what you're telling me. And you know this was all Paul Levesque, not Vince, because did you hear what Michael Cole said? He just said, DIY! That's all he said. And we went off the air with a time management botch. If it was Vince, Vince would be telling the commentating team to tell the story, tell the casual. Who are these people? Why should we care? Why should they go and do their research? Why do they have to spend time trying to find out when they are when the commentators should tell you who they are? No. This was for black and gold, right? This was just for those that know who they are. And then Michael Cole just keeps it edgy, right? It's good to be edgy. DIY! And we go off the air. The crowd in attendance didn't care. Most of them probably didn't know what a DIY is. Oh, it's Johnny Wrestling. Forgot he was on the roster. Meanwhile, the fan with a lot of time on his hands and watches every damn wrestling show and can't get rid of the idea of black and gold, they're literally busting a nut over this. DIY! They just put John with Tommaso. That's all they did. Same thing they did in NXT, and it just worked because it was the right time and there was viable competition. Now, it's a different time. There's not viable competition, nothing that's going to captivate you when we're taking two dudes that could really use a good rub and a good push individually. We're thrusting them together. Now, we'll let it play out, no question. We're hoping that's what, when you get consummate professionals, and they're so damn good, they can turn chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad, right? They can take a regular old brick and somehow make that into a gold brick. So we'll see what Tommaso and Johnny end up doing. They're very entertaining individuals. If they do this way thing, maybe they add in Candice LeRae, they add in Indy Hartwell. I don't know. Do you create a faction? Is that what we need? Another faction, right? Judgment Day is beyond stale. They just have the same matches every week, and then you just move puzzle pieces. That's not why we fell in love with factions back in the day. Factions were actually badass. NWO, or a lot of fun like DX. Judgment Day just has the same repetitiveness every single show. Imperium, not really. I mean, it's a 3-person. You have your sidekicks to the main dude. But it also just adds to redundancy, right? If Gable is going to take on Gunther, for instance, well, first Gable has to take on Giovanni. Then Gable's got to take on Ludwig. Then Gable's going to find a partner like Otis, and they're going to have a tag match with Giovanni and Ludwig. And then finally, Gable will have 4 matches with Gunther. And for 3 months, we'll see the same people fighting each other. I'm done with the factions thing, man. Bloodline, to get to Roman, you had to go through Jimmy, and then Jay, and then Solo. Then you had to have a tag match. Then you had to have a 6-man tag. And then you would get to Roman. Man, when it's done so repetitively with so many groups per show, that's when it becomes a problem. Maybe if you narrowed it down to one faction, maybe, and that storyline is just regurgitated one time during a WWE span, right? But because it's so often we see this nonstop regurgitation, it's old. So we don't need any more factions, man. DIY, that's your cold open, man. That's your teaser, all right? DIY is back, and I'm a supporter of both dudes. But if you think that this is going to solve any issue, if you think this is going to make Raw better, if you think this is going to be more fun for you, again, the reaction for Johnny Wrestling when he came back, that should tell you everything you need to know. You might want to build these dudes up individually first. But here we are, man. The bigger story is Gunther. This dude is becoming a living legend, like a current roster legend. A dude that's not even been in WWE that long, and he is becoming a living legend. I'm going to open up this Dunkin' iced coffee, right off the ice block, by the way, from the fine folks at Dunkin'. I'm going to crack this open. I'm going to get mega swigs. You guys are going to come right on back after doing your 4 things. Number 1, grabbing your coffees or beverage of choice, locking in your earbuds, smashing that up, and I mean smashing that up, because we got a packed, stacked, jacked, amped up podcast. So you got to show me you're amplified, smash that up, and then you're going to come right on back, and we're going to get amplified. Monday Night Raw, the 2nd of October, 2023. She injures mouse girls. Nia Jax starts the show. Oh, that's the way you want to set the tone, huh? Come right on back. Let's do this review amplified style, baby. Nia Jax starts this show. Nia Jax, man. That's like a really bad joke, right? I mean, listen, I started with some comedy at least earlier. Edge returning to WWE to help out Tommaso. Because, it's funny, right? Because Edge's pop. Edge's debut in AEW, the roar of that crowd, and then you have Johnny Wrestling show up last night. Half the crowd is like, who is this? It was a funny way to it was funny, right? Funny way to start the show. Now, this is a bad joke. Nia Jax actually started the show. And, well, I mean, what the if you're writing a 3-hour show, do you really want to start off with Nia Jax? Do you really want to start off with She Injures Mouse Girls? Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and Rhea Ripley. Now I know. Hold on, let me get I know I said in the cold open teaser I was going to get a mega swig, but I had about a minute of business I had to attend to before I could continue with the podcast. So now I'm going to get my mega swig. Hold on, and then we'll talk about the opening of this because Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and Rhea Ripley came out to take out Jax. Now, Raquel and Shayna would end up brawling with Jax to the back. I think Jax had like a busted nose, too, from Rhea Ripley, I believe. But they all wrestled to the back. Now, Mommy stayed in the ring. Mommy's there. Everybody's chanting, Mommy, Mommy. And I'm like, damn, you all got the same mommy. How wild is that? It's one of those. Come on. It's a Raw review, man. The bad joke isn't just Jack starting the show. Maybe BC's got a few as well, possibly. So Bobby's in the ring. She's demanding Judgment Day comes to the ring. And she means now. So the dirtiest of Doms and the senioriest of Damians comes to the ring. They obey their mommy. And that's pretty much that. We go to commercial break. I'm not even joking. So Nia starts the show. She's like beating up Shayna, and then Raquel and Rhea come down, and then Nia, Shayna, and Raquel brawl to the back, but Rhea stays in the ring and demands that Damian and Dominic come to the ring. They come to the ring, and we go to commercial. That's your first 15 minutes. When we come back from commercial, Rhea tells Priest he needs to step it up and tells Dominic he has an NXT North American title rematch Tuesday on NXT. Dominic versus Trick Williams in a rematch. And that took a long time to set that up, by the way. That promo was a little too lengthy. Jey Uso then hits the ring. He's jumped by Priest, by Dominic, by JD McDonuts. They all jump Jey Uso, but Cody Rhodes is the savior in this one. Cody Rhodes hits the ring and clears the heels out. So they gave Sammy and Kevin Owens a little bit of a show off. I think they realized, wow, Judgment Day, Sammy and KO, it's every week. Even WWE is now saying, wait, maybe we ran this into a brick wall. So they left them off the show because they knew if we don't have Sammy and KO with the Judgment Day, we have nothing for them. So Cody Rhodes has to save main event Jay. Adam Pearce all of a sudden comes to the top of the ramp and he says, you know what? We're going to settle this in a tag title match. I'm like, wait, what? It didn't escalate to that, bro. Cody was just coming out to save Jay. All of a sudden there's a tag title match? None of this made sense, man. Adam Pearce says, Priest, it's going to be dirtiest and senioriest versus Cody Rhodes in main event Jay at Fastlane. Didn't even tell us where, did it? I thought it was like later in the night. Then it was clear it's not going to be, so maybe it's next week. Then we hear it's Fastlane. Guys, this took nearly a half an hour to get to the point. No joke. Listen, it's a review of a lot of jokes, right? WWE's telling jokes. BC's got jokes. But no joke, this took a half an hour to set this up because we went to another commercial. When we came back, we were into half an hour number 2 of 6. We were in Q3 of 12. What that means is we're half an hour of the show's gone. I don't even know what happened. And trust me when I say I honestly don't mind full half an hours of non-wrestling. I don't. I'm old school. The wrestling shows, I don't need a ton of wrestling. Those should be for storylines, building up characters, trying to make them future legends. But for now, larger than life. Do storylines we're captivated by. And at the pay-per-views, that's where we'll pay money, or we'll make sure that we'll be there to see really good wrestling matches, right? You have a couple on each show too, but the shows are for the storylines, for the building up of characters. I don't need to see a wrestling match every Q1 through Q12. So a half an hour of no wrestling, I'm fine with it. The way they ended SmackDown 2 weeks ago, with AJ Styles being written off of TV for a couple weeks, getting into the ambulance, he's getting squashed by Solo way up high, back in the electrical equipment. Cena returns to the ring, gets his ass whooped. The Bloodline story, some of the best Bloodline storyline developments with Sami Zayn and whoever they were taking on at the time, going into Mania with Cody Rhodes. A lot of those were just lengthy Q1 or Q2 or Q7, Q8 segments. If it's a SmackDown, it's only 8 segments. So end of the show or beginning. But they let it breathe for like a couple of segments, man. Like a full half an hour. And it was some of the highest rated segments. So I really wanted to spend a minute on that because I don't mind. I like when they spend a lot of time not wrestling. I understand it's a wrestling show, but it's a television show. Whether you like it or not, guys, this is not an actual just sport. I like the term sports entertainment because it actually does tell you what this is. It's entertainment. It's a television show. It's pre-planned. It's predetermined. It's rehearsed. It's not an actual sport where we have to find out who's actually better than the other one. And we're going to find that out through grueling battle. It's just not. I shouldn't be the one to tell you that, or tell you that Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy, it's probably not what you think. So I don't mind a half an hour being used for non-wrestling, but at least the bare minimum we're asking you is to make it fun, make it interesting, make it captivating to us. That's all we're asking. We're not asking you for much or to move mountains or to do some Expecto Petroleum, some Harry Potter shit with a magic wand. We're asking you to make it fun, interesting, and captivate us. This was, what? Nia Jax gets beat up by a bunch of females that she just beat up over the last couple of weeks. Okay, and then they go to the back, and then Rhea Ripley stays there, and she says, I have a problem with my own Judgment Day. I'm going to yell at them. So she yells at them for 5 to 10 minutes. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso come out. Adam Pearce comes out and says, wow, this got out of hand. Tag title match. Cody Rhodes, tag title match, because that's what we need. That's what Cody. Thank goodness he didn't win the world title and have something special for the past several months. No. A weird thing with Brock, to this day, there was no reason for it. And WWE never gave 2 flying Fs to give a reason for it. And then he goes into a repetitive process with the Judgment Day, probably leaking into the holidays. Just as I told you many months ago, this is what we were hearing. My people told me they had nothing for Cody coming out of Brock Lesnar. Nothing. There was never anything. And it was never scheduled to be anything. There was nobody in line. It was just Brock. And they had a several match lineup, so it had to be for the world title. But they called the audible. They didn't give the title to Cody. And we got what we got. And now Cody's going for tag titles. Wow, man. That's not even a consolation prize. That's just sad. Tag titles in a non-existent division doesn't make you champions of anything. Say the same thing with the women. You could go an hour on this subject. It's the tag teams used to be fun, man. Demolition, Legion of Doom, the Rockers, even Money Incorporated. That's when they took 2 individuals, they put them together, 2 singles people, put them together, and they made it work. They made them a real tag team. They put them in stories. They portrayed them like they were a unit. Earthquake and Tugboat to become the natural disasters. Tag team wrestling was actually fun. Now it's like the cold open, DIY. You know, everybody's all like, yeah, so excited. You just saw 2 singles dudes put back together because it's rekindling a memory from 5 years ago or whatnot. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, whatever it is. The point is, you're throwing people together, and where's the division at? There is none. The only division is between creative and common sense. There's an actual divide there. Common sense and logic, and then WWE creative. Half an hour of nothing here, guys. Nia Jax gets whooped around a little bit. Rhea yells at Judgment Day. And Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso get a title match at Fastlane for the tag team. That's it. Half an hour spent on that. Then we go on. Oh, listen to this, man. This was wild to actually see this in real time. So WWE, it took a half an hour for me to be interested in something, but WWE announced the signing of Jade Cargill. Now, they already announced it via the web and whatnot. Sports Illustrated, ESPN, WWE with their own statement. But it was surreal to hear Michael Cole say her name, Jade Cargill, on Monday Night Raw, and to see her image up on the screen. Michael Cole, talking about WWE signing Jade Cargill, and there's Cargill, there's this beautiful girl, first of all, but also a beast. So she's a beautiful beast. And her image is up on the screen, and Michael Cole is talking about signing Jade Cargill, and I'm like, damn, that was a big star in AEW. Whether you thought she could wrestle or not, I get it. That's in the eye of the beholder. Whether you feel like she did not reach her pinnacle yet. She was going to be a star, but not yet, BC. Well, I call BS because she was a champion for over 500 days. She was treated like a female Goldberg for a while. Tony Khan just admitted he was about to send over a Viking ship full of cash to make Jade Cargill happy instead. We talked about it in yesterday's podcast, if you guys missed it. But, man, that tells you something, man. How they felt about Jade Cargill in AEW, and it tells you how WWE feels about her. To announce this on the air and talk about it. This company is super high on this gal. Expect mega things from Jade Cargill, man. Pretty badass. And you know what? Where are my damn manners, too? Before I even keep going. Okay, so we're into the second hour of Monday Night Raw. They announced Jade Cargill. Her image is up on the screen. Just badass, all in all. But I got to send a shout out to some Amplified Unit members, if you don't mind. I should have done this before we even started the review. But let me see if I can get it on the big screen. Angel Olega, who's a gold card member, by the way, channel member. A 25-spot banger bomb, a mini banger bomb is what we call those. And the super thanks button down below. It's like a super chat, but for regular uploads. And that thanks button down below, it's never needed, obviously. It's appreciated. It's never needed. But it's just chucking coffees at the channel. Angel Olega with a 25 spot, man. A mini banger bomb. Says, thanks, BC. Tiffany was awesome in her match. Celebrating 8 months of membership with a mini banger bomb. Angel Olega, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Always good to see you up in here. And I completely agree. If you guys did not catch the podcast yesterday, I went over NXT's No Mercy event, and I talk in great lengths about Becky Lynch versus the new shining star in pro wrestling. Whether you like her or not, you cannot deny the fact that she is a superstar already. Tiffany Stratton. I talk all about it in yesterday's podcast. Angel Olega, I absolutely agree. And to 8 months membership, I think we've only had memberships for about 8 months on the channel. So a massive salute to Angel Olega. Bro, I appreciate the coffees. Let me do a big swig for you. Appreciate you, Angel Olega, man. Much respect right back at you. And also, Deshaun Sanders with a 2-spot coffee. Thanks, BC. To be honest, I came across your podcast scrolling through YouTube, and I've been on board ever since. Keep the truth coming. Also a gold card channel member, Deshaun Sanders. I appreciate the words, brother. I'm glad you found the channel, and I'm glad that you're fully amplified at all times. I'm glad that even if you don't agree with what BC is saying, you're not crying about it. I'm gonna unsub, man. Deshaun Sanders has been with the unit for a while, gold card status, and what I love most is absolutely amplified at all times. Deshaun Sanders, salute to you, bro. Appreciate the coffee, but more than anything, Deshaun, you know I always love seeing you up in here, dude. JR9 Gaming with a 2-spot coffee, and he's got a special No Mercy edition of the Amplified NXT Roundup. So No Mercy, the event from Saturday, man. I gotta scroll through that when I got the time. Oh, that's a detailed report as well. So JR9 Gaming, I will be scoping that, brother. Salute. My right-hand man on the channel, and he thoroughly amplified level status dissects these NXT shows. You can pretty much bet that he's got his finger on the pulse of these shows, man. So thank you, JR9 Gaming, dude. And if I missed anybody else in the super chats from yesterday's podcast, all apologies. I will get them, though, and you will get the proper shout-out. So appreciate it big time. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, so I wanted to give some shout-outs before I forgot. That should have been done at the top of the review. Deshaun Sanders, Angel Alega, JR9 Gaming, rocking yesterday's podcast, man. All right. Thank you. That's a couple minutes. I got to give shout-outs. I got to give the proper respect back to my Amplified unit for showing such amplified respect to BC in the channel. That's how this works. You show respect, you get respect. Dipshits, they get nothing. No attention, no nada. You get nada. You get nothing. Nothing. Respect. One hand washes the other. That's how it is, man. That's how it is in life. That's how it is on the channel for sure. So, moving on. Gable and Otis versus Imperium. Again. Think about it. Let it resonate for a second. Gable and Otis versus Imperium. How many months have you been seeing this? Right? It's not just Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Judgment Day every week to the end of time. It's Gable and Otis versus Imperium. Every show, every week till the end of time, it seems. Just like the New Day versus the Viking Warrior Experience Adventure Raiders. Every show, one-on-one, tag team, but till the end of time, it seems. So, Gable and Otis, Ludwig defeats Otis via pinfall. And that was it, guys. There's nothing else in the notes because nothing else happened. They had a match. It was decent. We maybe did some chants, and then Ludwig just pins Otis. Nothing different, nothing new, nothing that'll lead to something special going forward, nothing. They just don't have anything for these individuals, so they keep throwing them out there every single week with the same type of booking. Same type of booking. Helps nobody. Does nothing for anybody. Bronson Reed, for instance. Listen to this. Ready? All right, so Bronson Reed defeats Cedric Alexander via the Bronson 747 Smash Splash. Okay, now I can't help. Every time he hits that, I can't help. If he was like the kid at the pool, the state pool, and he's going up the ladder to go off the diving board, and all the other kids are just having fun in the pool. They look up, and little Big Bronson is about to he starts his bounce. He bounces a little bit higher, and you know when he yells, "Cannonball!" The water's not the only thing shooting out of that pool. Every damn kid in that pool is skyrocketing through the stratosphere. Every time he just jumps on, I'm like, man, imagine if that was a pool. What he could scale on, what he could garner on the Richter scale would be amazing, man. Anyway, Bronson hits that splash, and Cedric Alexander is defeated. That's it. My notes literally say this. Bronson Reed defeats Cedric Alexander via the Bronson 747 Smash Splash. That's it. And why do my notes just say that? Wasn't because BC got lazy. It's because nothing happened. That was it. Just a squash match. So you could easily have just let Cedric Alexander stay out of that, right? Just take anybody from the local bingo hall, an actual enhancement talent, a jobber, right? Three Balls Theo just debuted with the local bingo hall down the block. Take Three Balls Theo and put him in there and let him get squashed by Bronson. I'm hearing that who is it? Who just came out of retirement? Was it Billy Fuckwad Fred? That's who it was. Fuckwad Fred just came out of retirement. He wants to have a couple more matches. Take Fuckwad Fred, put him in the ring with Bronson, and have Bronson squash Fuckwad Fred. But why does it have to be Cedric Alexander? It's bad enough his partner just got released. You squash this dude literally. You're basically saying Cedric is the next one to get released. So do it quietly. Don't have him get squashed literally on the show and then squash his career by releasing him a day later or a week later. Take an actual jobber from the local bingo hall. They used to always do this. From time to time, they still do. But if this was a straight up squash match with an enhancement talent, why does Cedric have to be the enhancement talent? I'm not saying just start out of nowhere booking Cedric Alexander to be a megastar. Not even I would believe that right now. You've done him so wrong, it would take a long time. But I'm saying he doesn't need to be in these type of matches because you're just digging his hole even deeper. So if you ever do want to make something out of Cedric, good luck. It's going to take forever, as the Ultimate Warrior would say, to dig out of the hole. Oh, man, I tell you. Now, hour number 2. Now, guys, I got to be honest. I had to go back on this. I was just Gable and Otis versus Imperium again, and then Bronson Reed versus Cedric. I was starting to zone out. And for the first time, maybe ever, I actually took off for a half an hour. I went and got myself at the local market. I went and got a Haagen-Dazs. I went to get ice cream. No, I'm not even going to BS you here. I would love to tell you I had to take a business call. I had to send a fax over, right? I had to do some important business at this time. No, what I did is I took my ass to go get ice cream. And if you're wondering, it was Haagen-Dazs coffee chip ice cream. It's like chocolate chip, but coffee chip. And it's got those chips that would be in chocolate, but it was in coffee ice cream. And it's fucking delicious. There's no other way to put it. It's delicious. So I went and got Haagen-Dazs coffee chip ice cream. So I missed about a half an hour of the show. Now, I didn't miss much up front. One thing I wish I saw in its entirety, though, was the contract signing at the start of hour 2. Tommaso, Ciampa, and Gunther. I did hear it was pretty good. I saw a little clip of it, and it was pretty damn good. From what I saw, the funniest moment was Gunther saying to Ciampa, "This is the biggest match of your career, and you're out here in a tank top and camo pants. That tells me everything I need to know." That was great, bro. Come on, dude. That was fun. That popped BC, I gotta be honest. But good back and forth from what I did see. And that set up the match. It was so good, and it got so serious that they actually made the match for later in the night, the main event. It was supposed to be next week. They said, well, if you're feeling that confident, let's do it tonight. So they made that match. So listen, I'm down with this because every week it seems we're getting the same Judgment Day versus Sammy and KO match, or a 6-man match with the Judgment Day, and maybe Cody's in there with Sammy and KO, or Sethington. But you're just doing the same matches. I said, hey, if we got a match that feels like a main event, I'm down. But aside from that, guys, you just got Xavier Woods. While I was getting ice cream, thankfully, I missed a fruitiest of roll-ups. Because Xavier Woods was in there well, it's a new day, so you know exactly who he's in there with. One of the Viking, Raider, Warrior, Adventure Expeditionists. Right? This was Ivar. Xavier Woods defeats Ivar via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Rollup. That's right. Xavier Woods defeats Big Iva. I want you to think of Iva. You probably don't even know it. You probably don't even care about the Viking expeditionist anymore anyway. But if you forgot how he's a big dude, all right? He's like a Bronson Reed type. And Ivar he's just rolled up because that's what would happen, right? A much smaller guy could easily just roll you up and just hold you down for 3 seconds. And the big guy, there's no way he's getting his shoulder a centimeter off the mat. There's no way. Xavier Woods defeats Viking Raider Ivar. And the New Day and the Vikings continue to have 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 matches every single week. And all we're asking for is something different, or at least add creativity. If you say, well, BC, you can't move on so fast. It's obviously a Viking Raiders New Day feud. It can last 2, 3, sometimes 4 months. You gotta let it play out. That's fine. I like when they take a feud and they make it 2, 3, 4 months, bare minimum. The point is, you gotta add creativity. You can't just have them out there every week just facing each other and fighting each other or just brawling with each other. At some point, if you're going to do this for multiple months, you have to have a storyline. You have to have creative segments. You have to. Otherwise, we're just having matches every week or brawls. That's not a storyline. That's regurgitation. And I also missed, what else did I miss? Oh, Tegan Nox defeating tag champion Chelsea Green. Thank goodness I missed that as well. Tegan Nox defeated champion Chelsea. Again, your champion loses. Chelsea Green, even with a title, is just a joke with the company. It is clear. So when people said, oh, well, Chelsea and Piper, or Chelsea and who did she win the title originally with? Sonya Deville, I believe. I can see them building a whole division around them, BC. Yeah, where have I heard that before? And Chelsea loses again to Tegan Nox. Natty's music hits in this match. Natty comes down the aisle with her booyaka booyakas. And she just cheerleads Tegan Nox. Cheerleads. No distraction. She's just cheerleading. Or maybe there was, I don't know. But she's a cheerleader. And Tegan is able to defeat tag champion Chelsea Green. And then after the match, Natty gets in the ring and holds up Tegan's arm and is smiling. Like, is that WWE trying to show the audience that as long as Natty is supporting Tegan, we all can clap too? Well, you haven't booked Natty for anybody to care about her. So is Natty supposed to be passing torches? Is Natty just showing her sign of approval? Hey guys, look. I'm saying that Tegan is the next big thing, so you guys can believe it. It was so weird seeing Natty out there with Tegan Nox, man. And then the champion Chelsea Green just loses another just nonsensical, meaningless match. Becky Lynch was supposed to take on Tegan, but Becky suffered a gruesome arm injury during her match with Tiffany Stratton at No Mercy Extreme Rules for the title. She kept her title. She lost an arm in the process. So we wish Becky the utmost best in a fast recovery. But they still gave Tegan a good victory here. Good for her, not for Chelsea. And I don't know what this is doing with Natty, and I don't know what it's doing for Tegan even. But Paul Levesque is, I mean, you're seeing this, I've been seeing this, but hopefully you guys are starting to see that this is a Paul Levesque presentation. Tegan Nox with a push out of nowhere. Bronson Reed squash matches. Tommaso and Gargano together. DIY. You know what I mean? At some point, I'm not saying that Vince is totally not making decisions whenever he wants, but you have to start to blame both or none. You know, when it's not good, it's okay to blame H for things. There's been many things that have been confirmed to be H's that failed creatively. Nobody wants to do that. But I hope you guys can see that, this show was greatly influenced by H, and when you don't have a couple Monday Night Football games, and the one that you do have is a blowout, Giants getting blown out by who'd they get blown out by last night, man? Was it the Cowboys? No, Cowboys blew somebody else. Who was that? Who took out the Giants last night? Seahawks. It was the Seahawks from Seattle. That's who it was. It was like 24-3 when I kept doing it. They could not score. And they just kept throwing interceptions. It was like they didn't even want to score. So, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if this rating sees a 1.5, 1.6. Not that the show was justified to do such, but you didn't really have dynamite, no pun intended, but you didn't have dynamite competition. Interesting, man. Interesting. I just don't know what they did with Tegan Knox there, Chelsea Green and Natty. That was just an odd segment. And the only other segment that I missed while I was out getting my Haagen-Dazs coffee chip ice cream, there was 2 Shinskes and a Sethington. That's like another joke, right? 3 dudes walk into a bar, 2 Shinskes and a Sethington. So Shinsuke's up on the Tron. Seth Rollins is in the ring with Michael Cole. And he's basically, Cole's like, why are you doing this with your bad back? You don't have to do this. He's got a family. And Rollins is like, well, why do you do this? You took, 2 days off in 26 years? It's exactly why I do it, because we love this. And Shinsuke appears on the Tron like he's been for weeks. Now, I actually like this because they took something that it's becoming redundant, right? Seth is in the ring and Shinsuke's on the Tron. They took something that was redundant, so you think you're just getting the same old thing, but they switched it up. Plot twist. Shinsuke shows up behind Rollins, but he's still up on the Tron. 2 Shinskes. Kinshasa! And Rollins is down and out. Shinsuke on the Tron. Nakatron is counting to 10. And Seth Rollins beats the count of 10. He actually gets up, and he gets up to some chair shots by in-ring Naka ring. Tron Naka, ring Naka. Ring Naka knocks Sethington for a loop with some steel chair shots. And then Tron Naka starts counting to 10 again. Rollins gets back up. Kinshasa is waiting for him. And this time, the 10 count reaches 10 from Tron Naka. I liked it, man. Yeah, adds a little, see what I mean? Bare minimum creativity. I like it. And if that's a Paul Levesque decision, anybody that says, oh, Beasley throwing shade at Paul Levesque, he just doesn't like Paul Levesque. No, I want good television. I want good segments. I want good moments. I want to care. I want to be captivated. If that's a Paul Levesque McMahon decision, praising it. I liked it. That's why I don't need you to move mountains. I just want something original, fun, interesting. Something different, right? So that's when you praise them. I don't care if I'm praising Vincent Kennedy, Paul Levesque McMahon, and when it's bad, I blame Vincent Kennedy, I blame Paul Levesque, because those are the ones that are in charge of all this. I don't care who truly is on which segment. Those are the titles, those are the roles, that's what they claim, that's what they are. They take the blame. Just like they'll take the praise on a segment like that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I missed it, so I had to go back and catch that. And chopped up. I would love to see that in its entirety. All right, so I am back from my coffee break at this point, or my Haagen-Dazs ice cream break at this point, all right? We got Drew Mack and Miz back and forth promo. Miz tells Drew to embrace who he really is. Drew says, what? You want me to be the bad guy? Maybe take out Seth Rollins with a bad back and take his title? BC is like, yeah. It's exactly what we want. We wanted that many months ago when he came back in the UK. What was it, London? You come back as a bad guy and you go for Seth's title. You don't come back for the same matchup and title that you left at WrestleMania for. You don't come back with Gunther, then you lose and you look like an idiot and they got you playing around with nail-polished Nelson, flip-flops, Flanagan, Scooter Stevenson, Scooter McGee, Matthew P.H. Riddle. Looking like a clown. So yes, that's exactly what we want, Drew. Literally, when he said, what do you want me to do? Be the bad guy, take out Rollins with a bad back and take his title? BC literally audibly said, yep. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. But instead, it looks like they're gonna do this tweener shit, right? Because Drew Mac was like, well, that's not how I do things. I rack up W's and I do it my way. And like, well, where did that lead you? Your way leads you into the shitter. Your way leads you without a title. Drew then wants a match with Miz. Miz says, I'm not dressed to compete. I'm in a suit and you're in a skirt. This leads to a match which Mac defeats Miz via pinfall. He could have hit his Claymore party. A Claymore? What? It's a Claymore. It's a party. He could have hit his Claymore. However, instead, he rattles Miz's dome piece into an exposed turnbuckle. Now, this is a turnbuckle that was exposed by Miz. The referee caught it, told Miz to knock it off. I'll DQ you, man. Knock it off. So it just remained exposed. So when the ref was... What happened to the ref? How was... Wait a second. How was Mac able to even do that? Maybe he threw the... Maybe the turnbuckle was being thrown out of the ring? I forgot how the referee was even distracted. But Mac was able to take Miz, put him into the turnbuckle, and then he hit Future Shock DDT for the pinfall victory. So he used to win matches with that Future Shock. It's his version of the DDT. And then he went to the Claymore, obviously. He still uses Future Shock. But it was interesting to see him win like that. It was like definitely a different Drew. And then post-match, he got on the mic and he says, well, I'd like to apologize for my actions, but I'm also going to be the one to forgive my actions or something. The crowd was confused. It was a little bit rushed. But he was fully amplified. Full of energy, man. But I don't think that landed like he or WWE would have liked. Again, this is going to be hard to pull off. We all like Drew. We want the best for him. He's going to try to play this tweener guy and really get over a new mean streak. But he's edgy and he's badass a little bit more. The volume went from 4 to 6. It's going to be hard to pull this off, man. I would have went full-blown heel and blew the roof off the place, but they're going to try this tweener shit, man. They've been doing this for the longest. They tried it with Roman for years. They, to this day, still do it with John Cena. I think Cena is even more popular now than when he was full-time. But we'll see, man. Tweener with Drew. I have my reservations about this. Cody Rhodes comes out for his awkward 60-second interview at the top of the ramp. He's been doing this most weeks. I don't mind these. They used to do this all the time. Superstars wrestling back in the 80s, right? A big star would come out and you'd have a fun... It gets away from the ring for a second, too. It used to have a platform, right? Mean Gene Okerlund would be on a platform way away from the ring, and Hulk Hogan would come out, or the Warrior Savage, and they would have this interview, and sometimes they'd get attacked at the platform. It felt special. But there is no platform. You're just near the top of the ramp. And there is no Mean Gene Okerlund. There's no Brother Love. There's no Paul Bearer. There's no Jake Roberts. There's no Sean Mooney. There's no Lord Alfred Hayes. There's no Todd Pettengill. It's just a little gal named Jackie. No offense, beautiful girl. She's decent at her job. I mean, I have no complaints. But it's very forgettable. Just this little girl named Jackie just showed up on Raw. I don't even know when, guys. Maybe she's been there for months. I've never noticed her. But her name's Jackie, and she's just like, my guest at this time, Cody Rhodes. Cody, how do you feel about matches? Whatever she said. And it's not shade, but it's not special. It's not Mean Gene Okerlund. It's not Lord Alfred Hayes. It's not Paul Bearer. It's not Brother Love. I love you. Those were fun. You know, fun. Now, some of those were for gimmicks, for shows like Brother Love Show, or Jake the Snake Roberts in the Snake Pit, or Roddy Piper in the Piper's Pit. I get it. The Barber Shop with Brutus Beefcake. But then you did have the Lord Alfred Hayeses that would cut them from time to time. Mean Gene Okerlund, for sure, would cut those interviews. And they were subtle characters, right? You knew when you saw Mean Gene at that podium, man, you were going to have a rockin' interview. Jackie. There's nothing memorable. Jackie's just like, hey, guys, my guest at this time, Cody. And then it's just 60 seconds of Cody saying nonsense. There's nothing. He never says anything of relevance. Cody Rhodes just said, Cody says Jay and I will be on SmackDown this week. And then this was a quote, and then we're going to march into Fastlane and take the tag titles. Yay! Yes! Man! When we said pro wrestling needs a jolt, when we said that pro wrestling needs a pulse, right? It needs to come alive. We need that real boom period. When we said that, we were thinking Cody Rhodes with a tag team title. That's exactly what we want to see at Fastlane. More Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes matches. And then they said they're going to be on SmackDown. What about the brand split? What do you mean you and Jay are going to be on SmackDown? Why? In fact, if you're Raw talent in Judgment Day is the tag champs and everything's settled on the Raw brand, the red brand, you wouldn't even need to be on the blue brand on SmackDown. You could settle everything right there. So, the brand split. There is no brand split. I've been telling you guys that for many months, even before this latest draft. There is none. They don't honor it. A day after, people were showing up with visitors passes. Shotzi was running down the aisle of a Raw branded show and becoming a tag team with a Raw star. Who was that? Raquel Rodriguez to take on tag titles or go for the tag titles. I mean, you can make none of this up. Cody showing up on SmackDown. Miz and LA Knight switching shows just to have a feud. Nobody wanted to say anything about it. There's no brand split. And now Cody Rhodes and Jay are going over to SmackDown. And then they're going to march in the Fastlane and take tag titles. Yay. Freaking yay, man. Well, that got me 1,006% more excited. Said nobody ever. And then we go Gunther versus Tommaso Ciampa main event for the IC title. Gunther passes Ciampa out, retains his championship. Good match. You know, that's what we were hoping for. Just a different pace of a main event. Something that feels like a main event, first of all. We'll take it. Tommaso Gunther, pay-per-view quality. We'll take it. No way should Gunther be dropping his title. Fans were very disappointed, live in attendance and at home. They really thought that this was the moment, man. Oh, Tommaso has earned it. Oh, man. I was going to be so excited to see the new champion. It didn't happen, man. No way is Gunther, after all of this time, losing on a Monday Night Raw. Even if it was to Tommaso. Not on Raw, bro. No. After the match, Imperium puts a beating on Tommaso. Johnny Gargano returns. No reaction. You know, the initial, a little bit of a reaction because people, they're like, oh my god, is this big? Right? So Charlie can be gone for a couple months. She'll get a reaction at first, and then a minute later, everyone's like, oh, it's just Charlie. Nia Jax got a nice little pop right at the beginning, and then people settled down really quick because they realized it's Nia Jax. Johnny Gargano got a little bit of a pop at the beginning, a little bit. Wasn't even nowhere near what we were hoping for, and for justified reasons. And then it settled down quick and pretty depressingly. I mean, that the crowd was, you can go back and watch it, man, or listen to it. The crowd was just like, I'm just watching on. Because it's John Gargano, right? I mean, unless you really, really need to see DIY from many years ago rekindle their NXT black and gold days, unless you really need to see that, you know that Raw and WWE in general has so many issues that need to be rectified that it's going to take a lot more for a lot of us fans to get giddy and excited to see DIY back. I'd much rather see Tommaso have a badass singles push. I'd much rather see Johnny Gargano booked correctly, individually. With or without his wife, okay. But to see more multi-person schmaz matches, because I don't even call them tag matches anymore, because there is no division. It's just multi-man schmaz matches. It's easy booking for WWE. Let's put a bunch of people together. That way we get more people in one match. It's a schmaz. We don't got to get creative. We can move puzzle pieces. And this type of boring lack of creativity and redundancy on these shows is what is helping pit these numbers backwards. So, you know how I feel about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso. Utmost respect, want the best for them. If you think I'm a fan of DIY rekindled right now, Absolutely not, because it's not going to do anything for the product, for Tommaso, or for Johnny. But we'll let it play out, and we'll see. And maybe you bring in Indy Hartwell and a Candice, and maybe we get a new way, right? A new The Way. And we got a faction, another faction. We'll see. I'm hoping. Listen, I want the best for them, so we'll see. But if you think I'm going to be giddy, if you think for the next week I'm going to be talking black and gold, DIY. I don't know why I went full Southern there. But the point is, if you think I'm going to join that bandwagon, it's not going to happen. And if you've been watching this channel many, many, many months ago, I told you guys when there was talk of DIY getting back together, I said, for what? I'm the only one that's thinking a mile ahead, man. And it always falls flat on its face because nobody else is. Creative in WWE certainly isn't. Fans certainly are not. They're living in the moment. Just let it play out, right? And then it plays out and it falls flat on its face. That's what I'm saying. We can stop that from the jump if we just pay attention to what we're doing, show some logic and common sense, put a little bit of dose, a little bit of a sprinkle of creativity here, some care here, some effort here. Man, you can come up with some amazing recipes, right? The final finished product, that meal when it gets to that Thanksgiving Day table, oh, it's going to taste that much sweeter. But when you don't put the right ingredients into that recipe, that meal is going to be stale, it's going to be redundant, it's going to not be as good as it should have and could have been. That is your Monday Night Raw review. John Gargano returns DIY. Oh, and by the way, a botched finish. A completely, I mean, if the reception for Johnny Gargano wasn't bad enough, or lack thereof, there was a major, if you didn't see the show, there was a time management botch where Johnny and Tommaso were in their respective corners. Giovanni or Kaiser, one of them was in the middle of the ring, and they were about to get double kicked, or their double knee that they used to do. Forgot if it was the kick or the knee, but they would do the double shot there, and it was beautiful. They set up for it. Johnny's trying to get the crowd to come alive, and we go off the air. We go to Little Frickin' Chuckles, that little stupid doll you just want to kick around. We go to like a new fucking show that USA had, whatever. Absolutely horrendous. What are you doing? What are you possibly doing? You cannot have a time management botch in that situation, especially when you're trying to make people care about a little Jonathan Gargano and Tommaso over here. And you go off the air before they can even do their move or one of their signatures. You go off the air and the crowd is just like, is this it? Right? People that never saw NXT Black and they're like, DI what? What is, oh, they're a team? What is it? TI who? Oh, DI. DI, why? Why what? I'm asking you. I don't know why. Oh, just the, I got you. DIY, like do it yourself? Is that their tag name? Do it yourself? I mean, people were just, I mean, it was sad, man. I wish that they built Johnny up upon his return several months if you were going to do this DIY reunion. Build it up properly and then make people care. Plant seeds along the way of DIY maybe too, right? Even get casuals to kind of know about it a little bit more. So that moment could have been a lot more epic. But again, they did it last night, and now we're just, all I see is like a lot of Imperium versus DIY matches. A lot of Giovanni Vinci. Right, that's how he's announced. I see a lot of like Giovanni Kaiser versus Tommaso Gargano matches. Like more than one, more than 7. Probably a dozen matches of those 4. Oh boy. Or they're going to add people and do like war games. You know, that's coming up, isn't it? Survivor Series, war games. Maybe they'll have like a bunch of that. I guess that's what people will be waiting for, right? BC, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso in like a war games match. Okay. All right. Again, okay. I don't know what you want from me. I'm not going to get giddy on this, man. This is not how you end a show. I mean, that's a moment for like the middle of the show. And Michael Cole just said, DIY! And I'm like, what if nobody knows or cares about DIY? Or maybe you want to give a little bit of a backstory. Oh, and by the way, man, I almost forgot that just to touch on this, man. Maybe I did a little bit in the cold open, but man, WWE, man, they're creating this living legend with the Gunther. Walter. All right, since we're talking old NXT, right? Walter, Gunther. I remember when he got the name change, everybody said he's doomed, he's done. That's it. And then Vince McMahon, you got to give credit where it's due. I remember there was these reports, so stupid, so false, that Vince McMahon was going to bury Gunther. When Vincent Kennedy McMahon handpicked Gunther to be the guy, put that title on Gunther, and had him with a legit reign. And it was at the same time that he was still holding the title about this burial that was happening for Gunther. And BC told you, his people were hearing nothing of that. It got to the point, guys, where Imperium themselves, Gunther and Imperium, I forgot if it was Ludwig or Giovanni, with Gunther, actually said we heard nothing like that behind the scenes. We were never hearing anything about Vince being down on us. He's the reason we got the op. So, Vincent Kennedy McMahon from the jump saw that this dude was huge. And a Gunther name change, this was one of those scenarios that was not going to wreck this dude. And as long as Paul Levesque McMahon keeps that push up, Gunther's going to be massive. And he kept it up, to Paul Levesque's credit. Vincent and Paul agree heavily that Gunther is a big deal. And they're treating him as such. So good that this dude is becoming a living legend, to the point where who beats him now? And when you do it, you now have to do it flawlessly. It has to flawlessly, perfectionately be at the right place, the right time, and the right opponent. Almost like what you did with Roman Reigns. When he loses that title finally, I mean, if you botch this at all, this was all for nothing. Gunther is becoming the same way. Obviously, it's leaps and bounds different in many aspects to the world title and Roman. But on a not so different scale, not that much smaller scale, Gunther is becoming that guy where when he does get beat for that title, if you don't do this to perfection, you botched royally. What do you do now with Gunther? Because this dude is becoming monstrous. He is unbeatable for that title. That's what it's becoming. So the guy to do the job, man, that is going to be one of the biggest pushes you'll ever see. Whoever beats Gunther. Guys, that's what I got for you. This has been the Amped Up Podcast featuring the Raw review for the 2nd of October, 2023. Until next time, and there will be that next time. BC, top guys, we're out. Saying check you. Peace. Salute.